It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend with Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, it's me. I'm here. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing this beautiful Friday morning? OMG, TGIF. What a beautiful day. Hello, sunshine. Hello, honey child. How you guys doing? Wow. Social media is such a weird creature. Oh my goodness. Some days I legit don't know what to say. Messages can be lost in translation. Jokes definitely lost in translation. Where's Kyle today? I'm going to slap him a couple times for getting everybody all confused and all in their feelings. And I'm just like, wow, people, calm down. All right, we're going to talk about it while we go through a hair journey this morning as well. I'm going to tell you guys about my hair appointment yesterday. I couldn't get to Miss Rocio because she's busy, and I kind of didn't want to go too late in the day because honestly, I was trying my best to avoid that traffic. Oh, if you live in the Eastern Districts, I don't have to tell you about this. You know what I'm talking about. That traffic is some days not so bad, other days crazy. All right, Zeus is in the studio. Good morning, Zeus. Okay, you can sit here. Sit here. Come on. Come on, sit in the chair. He likes to sit in the chair. Okay, go ahead. Ugh. Gotta put him in the chair some days. He's like, yeah, I can't be bothered jumping. So, right. Yesterday, yes, I'm going to an event a little bit later on this morning. So let me just get my links, by the way. Yeah. So I wanted to, get a couple curls put in. And like I said, I was trying to avoid traffic. I was trying to see if I could get to Mr. Rosillo. The day kind of was crazy. It started raining, and then I was like, oh man, don't want to get wet in the rain. I went for a little walk to visit a friend who opened her new office location. So I said to myself, she was in the water, on the waterfront, a little ways from my office. And I could have driven. I said, you know what? Nah, I'm going to walk, get those steps in. There's something about walking, I must tell you, that you actually see different things. You see people who ordinarily you wouldn't see. And so I kind of enjoy walking on the streets, quite frankly. It's kind of nice. Yeah. So I decided to walk, and I walked, and I got there, and then it started raining. So I was like, oh man. But I walked back in the rain. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't like a huge downpour, but kind of drizzling and stuff. So anywho, I walked back, and I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do about my hair? Like, I gotta look decent today, And so I'd messaged Mr. Rosillo. She's like, oh, we got a 2 o'clock. I was like, oh man, it was too early. It was already after 1. So I said, nah, that's not going to work. So anywho, I decided I would go to Cost You Less. Big shout out to Cost You Less. Went there to pick up some snacks and fruits and a few other things. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to pick Gigi up early from school, and we need to get out of this traffic. So as I was thinking of my alternative, like where else I could go to get my hair done, I remembered Le Bleu right here in Savannah. I haven't been there in years. So I said, you know what? Let me call them, see if they got anything for me. Because I also needed a quick time get my nails, get a little manicure and stuff as well. Because I hadn't done that since Ecuador, and they were looking a bit rough. So yes, ladies, I'm going to show you. Let me turn on the camera so you can see what I'm dealing with this morning. Oh yeah. Let me see. Hold on. Is this up? Ugh, there we go. Okay, honey child. I'm looking like Aunt Lottie today. So we went there. Nails done. So cute. Yeah. Did a great job. The young lady, I don't know her name, Filipino young lady, did a very good job. Nice and shiny. No gel. I can't do gel because gel messes with my nails, makes them brittle and break up, and I can't do roughness on my nails. So anyway, she did a good job, right? Mm-hmm. And then I got to get their names. I'm so horrible with names. And then I said, oh, yes. I told her, listen, we're going to wash, blow dry, and then I want you to curl it up. And she did quite a job, I must say. She really took her time with the curls. So we're going to take those out today. You're going to get ready with me this morning because we're going to have a short live show. I got a video for you guys. But then we need to quick time change your outfit, put on a suit, and then we're going to get out of here. Yeah. Got to drive all the way to West Bay Road, so you know how that is. Mm-hmm. So some of you are wondering, what does Sandy do when she has to get ready? I keep a very simple routine. Oh, I can't be bothered. I buy so much makeup, whatever, and half the time I don't even use it. First thing is moisture. Make sure you wash your face in the morning, nice and clean. And we're going to put on a little bit of moisture. I have this face serum that I use. This one, face serum, and it's infused with vitamin C and collagen. So I've been using this one. Me and my bargain shopping at Ross. Got it for $7 on Amazon. It's like $20-something. Woohoo. But it's really good. I like it. So moisturizes without making you feel oily. I think I have, the usual skin issues that people do, T-zone and dryness in certain areas. And then, all right. So while I'm getting ready this morning, we need to talk about how you guys can't even take a joke. Where's Kyle this morning? We're not on radio? Why are we not on radio? Hold on. We should. Oh, shoot. I was going to say we should be, but I forgot to press the button. Oh, Lord, have mercy. What a hot mess. The manager's like, we don't necessarily need to see you doing nothing this morning, Sandy. Thanks for letting me know. Yes, I forgot to hit the button on radio. Okay. So I didn't realize yesterday that the post with, remember at the end of the show, I was telling you guys about Kyle and the ice image that he created of me, and how it was kind of funny because, of course, you guys know me and ice. I would never put on an ice uniform. So the fact that he put me in an ice uniform is like really funny. And then it was under the caption, the post about what's his name? The Cuban guy, Javier. Anyway, I didn't know. Kyle messaged me, and I had no idea that some of you were like all up in your feelings about it. Uh-oh, let me plug the phone back in. Hold on, honey Chan. You guys are all up in your feelings about this. Hello, good morning, caller. Oh, hold on one quick second for me, because I can't hear you. Let me plug it back in. Hold on. Let's see. Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Uh-oh, can't hear you. I was charging the phone. Let me see. I may have to restart it if it doesn't kick in. Hello? No? All right, let me restart it and I'll call you back. All right. Sometimes I notice when I charge the phone, I got to do a hard reboot. Oops, wrong button. I got to reboot it. So yeah, so some of you saw it, and I mean, some of you totally got it because I saw your comments where you're like, oh yeah, now you're loving Trump. And I was like, not this lifetime, honey child. Where's the restart button on this iPhone? It's not restarting. So those of you who said things like that, I know obviously, oh, there we go. I know obviously you got it. But then other people are like, oh my gosh, this is not funny. Oh, so now you're showing your true colors. I'm just like, what? Are you guys serious? Who didn't get the memo? First of all, we're not into hiding nothing around here. Showing our true colors. I'm pretty sure you guys know exactly what I think about 97% of things in life already. Okay? Face can't lie. Attitude ain't lying. Oops, hold on. My mouth definitely not lying. It's telling you what's the what, and what the position is. And somehow you guys actually took that serious and got offended. I think some of y'all just love to get offended. That's the only conclusion I can come to. I'm like, girl, they just be, this thing still isn't connected. They just be up in their feelings for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
We did it.
Oh.
We did it.
Oops. Sorry. Hello, caller.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Morning,
there we go. Honey child. Now I can hear you.
Good morning. Sorry to interrupt your routine. Happy Friday to you.
Yes. Thank you. And same to you.
I just want to call before you get too deep into today's program, Sandy, to firstly I want to thank our Department of Environmental Health garbage collection team.
Oh, yes. They've been doing a great job.
There are people who are thankless, and they do such a work that really keeps us happy, and we don't often remember them. But what triggered my call, other than thanking them and their team, is I passed a truck, a garbage collection truck, just moments ago, and there's some of the guys hanging off in the back of the truck, which is normal inside of a community, inside of a development or something where they're not driving too fast. But where they passed me was on a highway, and they were driving the speed limit. And we know by law, we all passengers of the vehicle, including the driver, must have the seatbelt for safety purposes. And God forbid if a truck gets into a collision, those guys in the back will not only hurt themselves, but potentially cause others to try to avoid them and they get hurt. So we're very grateful for the service and the sacrifices that they make, but we got to keep them safe as well. So I just wanted to put that out there to please, when you're in a neighborhood, from one door to the other, that's fine. But do not be hanging off back of those trucks on the main road. That's not safe at all. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. But out of curiosity, aren't they always hanging off the back of the truck? Like where else do they sit inside? I didn't think they had space inside for all of them.
Yeah, typically there's 3 of them. Typically there's a driver and 2 others.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they're driving when they're driving from one area of the neighborhood to another,
Mm-hmm.
they're inside, meaning on the main road. But when you get into development, say Marina Drive or say some of the neighborhood where you got to do a lot of stops because of the houses being next to each other, then they typically right in the back because they got to stop and go.
Oh,
but on the highways where you're doing 40, 50 miles an hour,
they're inside.
they're not supposed to. Yeah, and that's what I thought today, this morning.
Oh,
so that's what I wanted to raise concern about. We appreciate them, but we got to keep them safe.
Yeah,
and that's it for today, Sandy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, I hadn't really thought too much about that, but thank you, sir, for that comment. Yeah, guys, be safe out there because, garbage trucks might be doing their thing, but you got some crazy drivers out there. So thank you, sir, for that commentary. Appreciate it. You're live but muted. I shouldn't be. You should be able to hear me loud and clear. I'm going to tell that person to refresh. Ricola. All righty. So yes, some of you really took it seriously. And you know what? I'm sorry if I gave y'all the wrong impression. I thought that there's certain things that kind of go without saying around here that were so incredibly obvious. We've had discussions about this. And to be fair, I suppose, especially on Instagram is a bit of an anomaly. Instagram is the Instagrammers, they're kind of like in and out, hit or miss. But quite frankly, some of them probably don't watch the show. So maybe they don't know my position. But God, as much as I post and as much as these Trumpsters claim that I have TDS, they got the opposite. What's the opposite of TDS? They got the opposite of TDS. I thought everybody understood my position. We featured horrific violations by ICE. They've literally murdered people. By the way, did you see this week that one of them is actually being charged with one of the incidences? Not the ones in Minnesota, though. I can't remember where that one was. But yeah, I think a grand jury returned a verdict. They need to put them all in jail, starting with Donald Trump, to be quite frank and honest. So for the abundance of clarity, I did a video last night letting people know exactly where I stood in case y'all missed the 50 gazillion memos on this, which is I have always stood for law and order. And that's the irony. That's why it's funny. Maybe he should have done an image of me in the prison suit, because the irony of it is the DPP's office keeps coming at me like I'm Keyman's #1 criminal when I'm a person who really stands for law and order. You know what I mean? Immigration enforcement is something that I strongly believe in. And I always support people following the law. The law is there for a reason, right? Immigration legislation is there to protect, quite frankly, Caymanians first and foremost, but some of it's even there to protect the expat community. But, a lot of them be ignoring it, and then they call me about somebody took their money and this and that. And I help them because I understand the level of desperation, but y'all cannot be breaking the law. And every single time they call me, I said, do you understand that what you did was against the law, right? you don't pay for your permit. You don't get other people to take out a permit for you when they don't have a legitimate job for you either. I'm not the best at the brows because I'm not doing it with the proper pencil. Just those of you who are looking at me wondering, what the heck is Sandy doing? Just making them come in just a little bit. But I have a proper brow pencil that I should really be using. Anywho, yes, I would, if I had enforcement powers, at the top of my list would be Javier, Linda and Larry, Laval. Who else? Who's on your list? Linda and Larry, Laval, the Alpers. Debbie reminded us about them yesterday with their riffraff comments and stuff and how they were going on ridiculous, redunculous. You know, people like that. I have zero issues with people who come here, respect the country, living their best life, because why else would you move here? You shouldn't be moving here to suffer. And this is why I tell people, if you are having issues, you know, and this isn't turning out to be the best decision for you, please, by all means, do not stay in the Cayman Islands. Leave. Okay, this is a new foundation. I don't really normally like foundation, but occasionally you got to use it. And so when I was in Tampa last time, I went by, was it Sephora? I can't remember where I went. But anyway, I was like, listen, I need a light foundation, something that doesn't look like it's caked on. And, you know, so this one is actually what they call a serum skin tint with an SPF built in. Because, you know, people of color need to wear SPF too. We need to protect ourselves. So we're going to do a little bit of this today. This is the first time I'm using it. So let's see if we got the shade right. It's kind of, can you guys see the shade? And sometimes these shades look a little bit, till you start to put them on. All right. So anyway, gotta be careful that I don't put on too much in one area because this is actually kind of thick now that I'm putting it on. I realize. Oh, you got to spread this one around. So, and then apparently it's going to dry in because it's like a serum. So it's not a powder. It's going to dry in. So we're going to quickly spread it before it sets and before it dries. So yeah, so, you know, keep in mind now that Khalil's comment, which was that picture, was actually under the Javier post. And he said, I think his thing was like, it's time. Yes, it's time for Javier to go. Anybody was confused about my position on Javier? That he's got to get out of here? And I would be the first if I had the power to do so. Give me Bruce Smith's job for one day, CBC. And although I don't really, I'm not sure who's going to review his application, whether it's a board at a board level or what, but somebody needs to review that application, look at all the things that he's done. The dude has a conviction now. How on earth is that even possible? Anyway, where's this black stuff coming from? Uh-oh. We have made a mistake, Houston. Oh, Lord. There's something that has gotten on. Oh, no. Y'all see that? Oh, my gosh. What the heck is that? There's something that's gotten on the, hold on. Let me see if something got on the brush. Is that from the, oh, my goodness. Hold on. Let me, something just got on this foundation, on this serum. I don't know. That might have been me and my mascara mistake or something. Did I touch the edges of the? So anyway, yeah, I probably touched the top of this one up here. That's why you should do it in the right order. Hopefully you guys will be fine. I mean, obviously I know you will be fine. Right? And follow the law. The law is important. Okay? We're not lawbreakers around, yeah. And if you're expecting me to take the position that we should be breaking any laws, including immigration, I feel sad for you, but that ain't happening. For me, the whole purpose of foundation is just to even out, because you always have, I think everybody has a little bit of uneven skin. Although, boy, I feel so incredibly thankful that I've been blessed with, as skin goes, like I've never had any major acne issues or anything. I'd get like one pimple and I'd be so upset, like, where'd this pimple come from? So I've had really good skin throughout, my days. Yeah. So 99% of the time, I do not even wear foundation. I just rock whatever's happening. Do you guys think that the skin actually looks better now? It looks a little bit oily, doesn't it? But I think that's going to set in here in a second. Unless I put it on too thickly. Too thickly. Quickly. All right. We're gonna let it set. And then we're gonna see what happens. All right. So Auntie's going to an event today, Women in Energy. Big shout out to CUC. They've been doing this event for a couple of years now where they highlight women in energy. It's hard for women to break into certain professions, and things like engineering, energy, mechanics. These types of things are very, very challenging for women to be recognized in. So I think they just wanted to recognize women, especially their team here in the Cayman Islands. And they have, a regional guest speaker. Well, she's not regional now. She's worldwide, honey child. Miss Marla Dukran, she's going to be coming in. And they've got a whole lineup of events. So, all right, let's let that dry a little bit and see what we got going on. What else is going on in the Cayman Islands? I was checking in on Mr. Kenneth yesterday, Kenneth Christian. Someone actually sent me some photos of his injuries. And boy, let me tell you something. I have an opinion on this. Somebody needs to be charged with murder. I don't care what Mr. Kenneth said to you, young man, about the turtle meat. He's a butcher. And for him to be using a weapon like a knife when he knows the damage that a knife can do, I honestly believe. Somebody just sent me a picture, said, now this is where it's at with me doing the whole face this morning. This is so funny. But yeah, I honestly believe that this guy meant to cause him some serious harm, if not kill him. So I hope the DPP is paying attention, because we know how they can fall down on the job. They'll come and charge him with ABH. Those are some serious injuries, like not a word of lie. I saw it and I was shocked last night when I saw those photos. I was like, oh my God, what? I will not be showing them to you, but they are pretty serious. My God, Jesus. Ugh. Poor Ting. Poor Mr. Kenneth. Oh my goodness. No, he didn't deserve that. Just horrible. So police, do your proper investigation. DPP, please, put the man in jail for a really long time. It's just so stupid to me. I cannot believe that anybody would have actually done that. Very, very sad. All right, T. Jackson, for a second, you guys couldn't hear me or what? What's going on in West Bay Road, says Mr. Amelia. You're not cutting nothing short yet today, because I'm tired of you. I got stuff for you to sit down and watch. Morning, blissful British. Irvelin is in the house. Yes, quite a few people agreeing with that caller that the guys there need to be careful. Hi, Miss Debbie. Pennington Ebank says, really? Do you have to explain the ice image posted yesterday? The mindset of some of your followers blows my mind. Girl, I thought so too. But I said, I'm taking in context that they're informed. So I'm taking it in context that they're informed about my position. And so the more I thought about it, especially on Instagram, I said, maybe they're not informed. Like, I don't know. Anyway, child, I did my best to explain it. And if they can't get it, we can just keep it moving because there's only so much explaining you can do. And I think some people just don't want to understand. So you can't really help them too much. How's the foundation looking? It's not too bad. I feel like it's still setting a little bit. So we're going to give it some more time. I have very sensitive eyes, so I got to be careful with, like, I hate when people do eyeliner and the inside of their eyelid. Honey child, I can't be doing all that with my eyes. They're too sensitive. Like, even right now, this one's starting to feel a little bit dry and irritated. So I'll put in some eye drops in a bit. All right. So the next thing, pretty much we're done here. Like, we don't do much. And then we're going to put on a little bit of lipstick. And then I'm going to take out my hair. So Miss Abby saying, "Wow, happy for Friday, new hair." Well, this is the no. This is not chopped. This is just curled up, like finger curls. Abby, girl, don't you know how Black people have to do our hair to keep them curls? We can finger curl it. And now I'm going to go through and take out all the little bobby pins and little bobby pins, like literally, there's a million in here. And then we're going to finger curl it out. That's how we do it. So Miss Marlene says, thanks for highlighting the lost wallet from the 6th of May with my salary and my cards. Girl, I'm so glad you found it and the money was intact. These things, I have a lot of faith in humanity, despite some of the stuff that we see on a regular basis going on. Like what happened at Turtle Farm. I still believe that most people are genuinely good people. And I know this because so many of them come forward with things that they find, jewelry, your wallet with money in it, girl. I was so glad your money was still intact. So I know that there are good people out there. And, we have to do our part to be good people ourselves. And to just try to do the right thing, instill in our children the importance of just doing the right thing. And yeah, that's how it goes. I got to feel to see which end I'm pulling out for the bobby pins. All right, give me one quick second. I'm going to grab something here. And we'll be right back after this quick message.
The views expressed by callers, guests, and contributors on The Cold Hard Truth are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Cayman Marl Road, its management, sponsors, or affiliates. CMR encourages open discussion, but all participants are responsible for their own statements. Please speak truthfully, responsibly, and respectfully.
All right, we've had to put those in place. Thanks, Johan, for reminding me of the importance of disclaimers and reminders, constant reminders to our audience. Someone said yesterday, have you spoken to Johan since he got blocked? Does he know that he's blocked? I'm like, honey child, please. Johan was sitting here watching the show when he got blocked. So yes, he knows. He is fully cognizant and aware. But yes, I'm so glad that you, Miss Marlene, got your money back. All right. Plain and straight, good morning. Yes, Indigo Divers. I'm so disappointed in them. Like, I don't know them, but, again, I kind of expect people to do the right thing, right? Oh, my gosh. The Cayman Islands has been so amazing to so many of you. This is like they talk about the American dream. There's a Cayman dream that so many people have come here and taken advantage of. And all we ask, we're not asking for much, a little bit of respect. And just to, don't go around calling people names because they're local or they're of a particular color or, we're not into that kind of thing. Come on now. Mhm. Carol says, I'm with you with all that you mentioned. They all need to go. I feel like there's probably one or two that I may have forgotten. So I told you guys about Larry, that he hadn't even applied for his PR. Apparently, he has now applied, and he applied out of time. So he's actually applied late. You see, this is a level of disrespect, right? Larry is such a dishonest person. You guys have no idea. I see Mitzi Scott. I don't even know who Mitzi is, but is she from Northside? Mitzi Scott, she's always defending Larry. I don't know. Larry must be her drinking buddy, because the way you going hard for him, the only two explanations is he's your man or he's your drinking buddy. Because nobody goes hard for someone who's so disrespectful, beating up young Caymanians, and then you always trying to defend him. But Mitzi, I want you to know that Larry is also a liar. So not only does he disrespect us on, by beating up that little young man, but, and I got to check to see when Larry's court date is coming up, because I personally want to be there. I want to see him in court. But he also applies late for his PR, because, of course, our rules don't matter to him. He doesn't care, right? That's why you ignore deadlines and stuff, because you just don't care. So he missed the deadline, applied anyway. Yeah. And then I understand that Larry has been lying the entire time that he has been here on his work permits. You see, people know Larry. People know Larry. And some of the people who know Larry know me. He has told them, hear this cockamamie story now. Larry actually is a part owner of the business that he works for. Because people can do that. So they do all kind of lies, right? I know Irvin, I should have put on the mascara last. What a hot mess. So I think all the bobby pins. Oh, there's one more. So he's the part owner of the car business that he works for, claiming that it's luxury car business. But I could swear somebody reached out to me the other day complaining about how Larry had fixed their car or something. If that was you, message me again, because I can't even remember. But he actually, let me see here. Okay. So he actually, on his work permit application, and this is what they do, again, no lack of respect for our laws. And a lot of people do this. They will lie about what it is that they're doing in an organization in order to pay a lesser fee. So what have they lied? What has Larry lied about? Well, Larry has lied, claiming that he's an assistant in the business. So then, of course, you have to ask yourself, assistant to who? Who's he an assistant to if he owns the business? Assistant to himself? You see how these people can lie? What a hot mess. So, yes, honey child, Larry has lied all of these years on his work permits application. I don't know how many permits he's had, at least one for sure. Well, if he's getting PR, he's been here, 9 years now, 8 years? So he has lied all of this time on his work permit application, talking about he's assistant. And this is where I have to wonder, who's approving these work permits? How closely are they looking at applications that they would not have seen this and go, wait a minute, this guy is an owner in the company, right? But he's claiming, oh God, I got to fill in that little spot up there. But he's claiming to be an assistant in the company. Assistant to who? It don't make no sense. Okay. So, we need to, what I would do, immigration, WORC, is I think y'all need to go back in time, see how much money you have lost because of his deception and his lies, and quite frankly, get your money back. That's what y'all need to be doing. Get your money back. And then, I can't tell how the back looks, but I think it's all right. Get your money back from Larry and then deny his current application on the basis that he's the type of person who would actually lie about such things. Because if you can lie about that, you know you just a liar all the way around. And you lie about anything, honey chill. So yes, I thought I would let you guys know that because, you know, we are closely monitoring his application. And of course, like I said, his friend that called me and told me all about it also said, Sandy, you might want to know that for all these years, his title, I don't know the exact title, but he's an assistant in the business. So he's paying a lesser work permit fee when he's actually one of the owners and the boss. You can imagine, right? This is what I don't get. They come here broke and busted and want to pretend like they're rich, driving around in that ugly Tesla, what's it called? Cybertruck. They're not cheap, but they're ugly as hell. And how you're able to afford this fly lifestyle, this pretend fly lifestyle, is by lying to the Cayman Islands government about what you do and who you are in your own organization so that you can pay a lesser fee. Oh, Marlene, your wallet wasn't found? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. There was another lady the same day that you were messaging me. Hers was found with her money in it. I was confusing. Oh, I'm sorry. Miss Marlene says, no, hers wasn't found. I'm so sorry. Yeah, they're still honest people, but not everybody is, honey chill. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yes, Miss Anita says, my mother always says, check for her shiny nose. I know. We're going to pat that down here in a second. So yeah, so that's the hot mess that Larry is in. So I'm sorry, Miss Mitzi. I know you're supposed to be Caymanian and all that kind of stuff, but I can't agree with you supporting this guy, Larry. Every time something goes up about Larry or somebody else, she's like, oh, you guys aren't going hard on them like you are Larry. And I'm like, what is it with you and Larry? Oh, Mr. Dean, he said, did your hand get blazed up for real? You'll have to go back and watch Friday's show. But the short answer is yes. Now, Johan thought I was a little bit hard on him. I'm like, does Johan really watch and pay attention to this program? How can he think I was hard on him? Honey child, please. No. Anyway, consequences. That's all I can tell you, Bobo. Consequences. Yep. Part of life when you don't want to listen. Thank you, Jonathan. He says, you look beautiful. Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Rosedale says, Auntie Sandy, you sexy this morning. What a hot mess. I'm just doing a little something. Steve says, please contact me only via WhatsApp. What's going on, Steve? What am I contacting you about? Sometimes it helps if you tell me, because some of y'all don't be telling me nothing. I'll be like, what you want? How can I help you? Oh, what's this one? This one is, let me see what this one is. Eye Stylus Shadow Stick. Oh, this is supposed to go underneath the eyes. Shadow Stick. We're going to check that one out later. I don't really know. I think she gave me a free sample. Upcycled grape extract. I got to read the fine print on this one. Easy on the eyes, a silky shadow stick. Oh, eyeshadow stick. Okay. We'll check that one out and see. Sometimes I don't even bother putting on eyeshadow. I'm going to be honest with you. All right. Then we're going to do the lips a little bit. The good Lord blessed me with a big mouth and some beautiful lips, honey chill. What can I tell you? In that department, he wasn't skimpy. I see some of y'all barely have a lip. I'm like, oh, I could give you some. Okay. We can let that one dry a little bit. Then we can do another shade, a different color. All right. Irvelyn says, wow, I love your hair. Thank you. Thank you so much. You see the little curls, and you see then these curls will drop throughout the day because, you know, I don't put any hairspray or anything like that in my hair. So as we go through the day, they're going to drop a little bit further down. And then, yeah, they can start to really look good. All right. Need to talk to someone who knows about work permits, among other things. I may not be the best person to talk to. That's why I wanted to ask you what you needed. Because, you know, I'm not really in the permit business per se. And so you probably want to talk to someone who deals with WRC quite often. And that would not really be me. Yeah. I mean, if you ask me a question, I will get the answer for you from them. But I don't pretend to be an expert when it comes to that sort of stuff. All right, comment coming in. Why are we keeping a Cuban pirate here? Commandeering a ship, especially a foreign flag one, is an act of piracy. But hey, there are some who want to keep Larry the child beater here too. Mm-hmm. Honey child, can't disagree. Yesterday, by the way, someone was telling me that, and someone made the point, and I do want to clarify this. I think someone might have said yesterday, you know, why did we have to, why did the Panamanian ship even pick them up? And I know that at the time of the incident, we were talking about this, and there is an actual legal requirement under international maritime law that a vessel that encounters persons, I'm reading from what they said, because this is true, a vessel that encounters persons stranded or in duress at sea has a legal duty to render assistance and rescue them, so far as this can be done without serious danger to the rescuing vessel, crew, or passengers. And they were talking about that it comes from the International Maritime Organization conventions. There's the United States conventions, United Nations conventions, convention on the law of the sea, the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, and the International Convention on Maritime Search and Rescue. That's referred to as the SAR. So there's lots of legal basis for this. So yes, that is absolutely true. Who is this? Could you remind me of the date? Oh, yes. So, you know, keep that in mind. I think that the Panamanians were trying to do the right thing, and they just got caught up with crazy Javier and others. And so, you know, they had no idea really what they were in for. Can you imagine doing a good thing like that? And then all of a sudden, having these guys like threaten you on your own vessel, and it's just a hot mess. Just a hot mess. So someone says, free up Johan. Wondering if he had called him other stuff, would it have been okay? Listen, first of all, there is something to be said for disrespecting guests, even if you don't like someone, right? Because really, I took affront to what Johan did because it was disrespectful to me and my rules, right? But let me also say this, regardless of what you think about a minister or a government official, and I'm trying to think of which ones you would say that, okay, I have an issue with. And if they came on this program, I'd be tempted to even say something. I wouldn't. That there's something about that particular word that he used as well that I don't know. Like even when I use profanity, I'm going to tell you the truth. That's one of those words that I would have to be in a totally different mood to want to use that word. There's certain words, profane words, like the see you next Tuesday one, that they hit different. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Is that just me, or do y'all think all profanity is the same and there's not a variance in it? Good morning, honey child. Jonathan, is that you?
Morning. Yeah, that's me. How you doing?
Where have you been? I was wondering if somebody had kidnapped you. You know, we might have had to send out a search and rescue for you.
Nobody kidnapped me. I gotta step away because your TDS is so damn chronic. I didn't want to catch it. Listen, I just hear you this morning talking.
You made me laugh.
Well, that's good. When we laugh is better than when we talk. Listen, I'm aware, Sandra, of the laws pertaining, the international maritime laws pertaining.
Yeah.
Not only the ethical and moral duty to administer aid to anybody in distress at sea. However, that does not address the fact of what those jackasses do.
Yeah, that's okay. Jackass is all right. That's just a donkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
What those jackasses did once they were rendered aid aboard that ship.
I agree.
And the reason why they were not held accountable in a court of law for those actions is where the real question lays. Exactly. And I would surmise that it has something to do not with the Cayman Islands law authorities as it pertains to Cayman locally, but it has more to do with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office not being willing to make the steps necessary to hold that jackass accountable for what the situation that he created on board that ship.
In other words, you mean the governor's office?
His family's life.
You mean the governor's office?
That is exactly what I'm referring to. Okay. There's really no logical or sensible reason other than the well-being and the interest of the crown in some just weird way, which I can't figure out how it would benefit from them. That man was not held accountable in a court of law for what he did. Yes. Because what he did was commandeer an international vessel.
That's right.
Basically.
That's right.
I wouldn't say it rose to the level of terrorism so much as I would say that he commandeered that ship.
It was an act of pirating. Yeah, I think it was an act of piracy.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's the international rules which say, you have to render aid. Even if Makiva Bush and I find him out there tip over on a canoe, I would still bring him up and bring him back to land, even though I don't believe that he has a right to it. But when it comes to morals and ethics, yes, even if it's somebody you consider worthless, you render them aid, because no seaman, no mariner is going to leave somebody out there to die in those conditions. This even goes to wartime, where if you have an enemy, somebody who you hate and despise, in any other situation, you would put a bullet through their head. You are supposed to render them aid and bring them back to shore to be put before a court of law, so on and so forth.
Yeah. So I totally agree. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Yeah, I mean, that's the same question we were asking on, what day was that? Monday? I can't remember the days, or Tuesday. Monday was a holiday. Yeah, it's the exact same question that we've been asking. Like, yeah. Inquiring minds want to know. Real deal says Sandra, Larry, and others can ignore rules because they know that some stupid Caymanian wearing their heart on their sleeve will ignore the rule for them. Wow. I don't know. I am just flabbergasted. Morning, Andrew. Abby has me laughing. She says, Marlon just said, Alexa, play Tyrus Riley's She's Royal. Aw. So Blissful British says, free Johan. He's sorry. Freedom for Johan. Apologies to the minister for sure, but please free him up. Oh my goodness. I remember when you guys used to beg for Alejandro too. Remember that? Y'all have forgotten all about Alejandro. Bless his little heart. I was saying that that particular word, and then if you go back and listen to what he said, he was somehow putting what he perceived as Ralston's lack of a response, or he didn't like his response, because he did respond, but he didn't like the response that he got. He was blaming that on me. I'm like, what? I look like I Ralston's mama. Well, I mean, what on earth? Oh my goodness. I was quite taken aback. Kaboom to Jonathan, says CJ Cooper. Sophia's here for it. Good morning, darling. Thank you, Lady D. I just took her, if you missed the reveal, on how I took it out. CJ is also on the hashtag free Johan bandwagon. We ain't doing that, honey child. The rules are the rules, and they apply to everybody. Imagine if I freed Johan and we still have all these other people in telephone jail. How would that look? That would be, Johan had the audacity to call me a hypocrite. That would make me a hypocrite if I freed him and didn't free nobody else. And I'm not freeing anybody else. So therefore, he's not getting freed either. And y'all seem to forget the man had multiple warnings. Y'all turning a blind eye. Just the day before I warned him. I know y'all feel bad for him. Irvelin said, I feel bad for him, but that's when he was apologizing, then saying, but afterwards, I'm sorry, but she's like, girl, she said, oh my God, I don't know. No, you that but means you believe he should be in jail. Who is Jonathan? That's Jonathan Adam. Y'all don't know Jonathan? He hasn't called in a minute. What he say? My TD, wait, what is TDS? Is making him feel away. Another person says, good morning, Sandy. Government, like they only want the criminals here because they keep allowing them to get PR and status. When someone decent applies, they refuse their application. No, sir. The Larry petition has over 1,500 signatures. Please sign it if you haven't already. But you need to, get that in. Here's the other thing about Larry before we go to our video, because now I got to get on the road. Do not forget that the family, I was trying to look for the family members' phone numbers that I had, right? Please don't forget that the family members of that young man, as well as that young man himself, needs to write in letters to immigration about Larry. So the petition is great. The petition's fine. Y'all need to submit it now, though. And in addition to that, you need to send in personal letters to the board about why you think that Larry should not, should not get his PR. Individual letters with your signature on it matters. So please and thank you. I would appreciate you guys getting that done. Someone says that maritime piracy under international law, piracy is typical violent robbery, detention, or criminal acts at sea committed by private individuals or groups, usually directed against another ship and or passengers / cargo in the high seas. A key legal definition comes from the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, and examples are hijacking a cargo vessel, which is what they did, armed robbery against ships in international waters, and kidnapping crew for ransom. Well, they didn't, I don't think it was ransom per se, but they did kidnap them for, because they were making demands on them. They wanted them to take them to Panama, and they were like, no, we ain't taking you to Panama. So they did kidnap them for that reason. So not ransom in terms of money, but I guess forcing someone to take you somewhere could be seen as a form of ransom as well. I don't know. Oh, we had a little blip there on my page. Yes, I say free Anthony up, please. I love listening to his comments. Who the heck is Anthony? You don't even have his name right, Miss Omiria. No, I can't. You can't be rocking with him that hard if you don't even know his name. Where is the petition? I was on and off because I was on the road. The petition has been circulating for a very, very long time online. Keisha says, who did your hair, Sandy? Those curls are everything. Thank you. I don't even know the lady's name, Spanish lady. At Le Bleu did my little curls, and she finger rolled it. And that's how, I slept with my little cap on last night, and I just took it out. And yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so the young man, Andrew, was charged. He already went to court. They only put a thing on his record on his driving, like I forget what they call it. But once he turns 18, that's going to fall away. So that's not even going to be on there for long. He doesn't have a record or anything. It was just like a traffic violation or something on his driver's license until he turns 18, which I don't even think they should have done that much. That court should have been applauding him for defending himself, as every Caymanian has a right to do when some fugly looking man is trying to drag you out of your car. Hijacked is a better word than kidnapping. Yes, perhaps. Who's Anthony? I still don't know who Anthony is. I have no clue. So anyway, folks, I gotta go. I gotta get on the road. I want to get there in time. Hopefully the traffic has eased up, because y'all know morning traffic and me. But I've got a video here for you from the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce. Their last luncheon that they had on sustainability. If you care about the environment, let's all try to care about the environment. Please watch this. It's the Honorable Minister, which is the Honorable Catherine Ebanks-Wilkes. Will Panu speaks, and then the new president of the Chamber, Christina Spratt, also speaks during this luncheon, which they had a couple weeks ago. All right, so you guys have a blessed weekend, and please sit back and enjoy this video.
A little bit. The council's decided to kind of have more of an advocacy type of luncheon, and that's what this is all about. So good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the President, the Council, President Christina Spratt, just inaugurated last month. Put your hands together, Ms. Christina. As well as our Chamber Council, which is in Table 1. It's my pleasure to welcome you in the inaugural Chamber Environment and Sustainability Luncheon here at the Marriott Grand Cayman Resort. So today's luncheon is especially meaningful because it brings together many of the individuals, businesses, organizations, and volunteers who continue to demonstrate an unwavering commitment to protecting and preserving the Cayman Islands' natural environment. We are deeply grateful to your support for the Chamber's Earth Day cleanup and our Cayman Clean initiatives, which the Chamber has proudly organized for more than 2 decades. So over the years, thousands of volunteers and from Chamber member businesses, schools, service clubs, nonprofit organizations, and community groups have participated in these efforts. Together, you have helped remove tens of thousands of bags of litter from our roadsides, beaches, underwater communities, and terrestrial environments. More importantly, you have helped raise awareness that protecting our environment is a shared responsibility that requires continued vigilance, education, and action. Today is also an opportunity to recognize and thank our generous corporate sponsors whose financial support and volunteer participation make these initiatives possible each year. Your commitment to corporate social responsibility and environmental stewardship demonstrates the important role the private sector plays in advancing the quality of life in our islands. And we are also very pleased to welcome the many conservation, environmental, and voluntary organizations that have joined us today to share their information about the excellent work that they do throughout our community. Your dedication to conservation, sustainability, education, and environmental protection is critically important as we continue to balance economic growth with the preservation of our precious marine and terrestrial resources. So I'd like to now offer a very special welcome to the Honorable Catherine Ebanks-Wilkes, Minister of Health, Environment, Sustainability, and members of her ministry team, her Chief Officer, Tamara Ebanks, and I believe Tim Austin, Bradley from the department. Put your hands together and welcome. So, Minister, we'd like to personally thank you for accepting our invitation to address us this afternoon in the work of your ministry and the departments that you oversee, and the undertaking to protect and preserve and conserve our precious natural resources. The Chamber recognizes that sustainability and environmental protection are closely linked to our advocacy efforts and the future success of our islands. So as a country, we must continue to pursue policies and initiatives that ensure the economic growth we promote is sustainable, and that it safeguards the natural beauty and environmental integrity that define the Cayman Islands and support our tourism product, our quality of life, and our future prosperity. So we look forward to hearing updates today on the government's policy, initiatives, conservation efforts, enforcement measures, and other actions being considered to address the environmental challenges impacting our community. So today's luncheon is also a significant but because it marks the first gathering of, like I said, our newly elected council members following our annual general meeting in April. And each council member here represents an important sector of our economy, and I encourage members here to connect with them regarding any issues or concerns affecting your industries or businesses. So the Chamber Council meets monthly to discuss matters impacting public policy, economic development, workforce issues, sustainability, and overall quality of life in our islands. So your feedback and engagement are extremely important to ensuring that the Chamber continues to effectively support, promote, protect, and advocate on behalf of our members in the wider community. So following the Minister's address and time permitting, we hope to engage in a brief discussion with the Minister and her team so that members here and stakeholders may ask questions and share their perspectives on important environmental and sustainability matters. So this afternoon, please sit back, enjoy the fellowship and today's luncheon, and take the opportunity to connect with the many organizations and stakeholders working diligently to make a positive difference in our community. So thank you once again for joining us today and for your continued support of our annual Chamber of Commerce cleanup and Cayman Clean initiatives. So we're having a buffet lunch. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the minister's table first, and then we'll start with table 2, 3, and so on. Is that okay? Enjoy lunch.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. It's truly a pleasure to welcome you, our members, partners, Earth Day sponsors and volunteers, and friends, as we come together to discuss something that affects each of us, the sustainability of our islands and the environment that we share. At the outset, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to the Honorable Catherine Ebanks-Wilkes for joining us today and for agreeing to address this critical subject. Minister, we deeply appreciate your leadership and willingness to provide us with updates on the actions the government is taking to safeguard our environment and promote sustainable development. Thank you. These issues are not abstract. They are directly connected to the Chamber's 3 advocacy pillars: building a future-ready workforce, sustaining economic success, and advancing quality of life. Sustainability sits at the intersections of all 3 of them. A healthy environment underpins a strong economy. It supports tourism, protects livelihood, and ensures that future generations can continue to thrive in a place we are all proud to call home. As we move forward with developing the Government Accountability Scorecard, environmental sustainability will undoubtedly become a measurable indicator for tracking national progress and accountability. Our natural, marine, and terrestrial environments are both fragile and invaluable. Cayman's reefs, beaches, wetlands, mangroves, and biodiversity are not only ecological assets, but also economic drivers and part of our national identity. One of the things that has deepened my appreciation for our local environment is the more than 10 years I spent volunteering with what is now known as the Blue Iguana Conservation, formerly the Blue Iguana Recovery Program, under the National Trust for the Cayman Islands. The organization evolved to support the long-term sustainability of the endangered blue iguana population. Through commitment and collaboration, it helped bring this species back from just 15 to 25 individuals that were in the wild to a thriving population that is growing today. The blue iguana can only be found here in Grand Cayman, while their cousins, the sister islands rock iguana, can be found in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. These are beautiful creatures, and even if you're not a big fan of reptiles, I can tell you that they are fascinating, and I invite you to learn more about them. For me, they are a symbol of both how unique our islands are and how fragile our ecosystems can be. Their story reminds us that with commitment, collaboration, and action, conservation can work. It is about protecting the living identity of our islands, from our fauna to our flora. We have seen several encouraging and important decisions taken by the government in recent months that deserve recognition. On Earth Day this year, the government announced the formal designation of several new protected areas under the National Conservation Protected Areas Order of 2026, including wetlands, mangroves, marine parks, and inland nature reserves across all 3 islands. These include the Western Mangrove Cays Marine Park, Sand Cay, and the expansion of the Salina Nature Reserve. These decisions represent more than lines on a map. They demonstrate commitment to a long environmental stewardship and an acknowledgement that some areas are too importantly ecologically to lose them. We also commend the government for acquiring environmentally sensitive land on the Cayman Black Bluff that had been at risk of private development and subdivision. The purchase helped preserve a unique ecological and historical area that is home to native species and one of the most breathtaking natural landscapes on our islands. Equally significantly was the recent decision to retain and improve the Little Cayman airfield in its current location rather than pursuing relocation plans that had raised substantial environmental and community concerns. The decision balanced safety, infrastructure, and environmental preservation while respecting residents' wishes and protecting the unique character of Little Cayman. Government has also indicated its intention to move forward with restriction on single-use plastics, including plastic bags, straws, and polystyrene containers. These are commendable actions, and they deserve recognition. Thank you. We also acknowledge the broader national discussion now taking place regarding planning, development setbacks, and the need to better align the built environment and environmental sustainability. The recently announced Cayman Forward Aligning the Natural and Built Environment Forum is an important step toward bringing stakeholders together to discuss how development can proceed responsibly while protecting our natural resources for future generations. As a business community, we recognize the importance of development of economic growth and opportunity. But we also understand that development must be balanced, sustainable, and properly planned. Decisions relating to setbacks, mangrove protection, beach preservation, drainage, density, and infrastructure resilience will shape not only our economy, but also our quality of life for decades to come. However, we must also acknowledge that more work remains. One growing area of concern is the impact of certain chemicals on our marine ecosystems, particularly those found in sunscreens and sunblocks. Scientific evidence continues to show that these substances can contribute to coral reef degradation, which in turn threatens marine biodiversity and tourism product of which so many of us depend on our economy. I had the opportunity to hear firsthand about the Chamber's recent travel club visit to the Galapagos Islands. I'm very jealous that I didn't join, but I did hear firsthand about it. And the extensive preparations and education provided before members even arrived. The discussions highlighted how seriously the Ecuadorian government takes environmental protection and how deeply conservation is embedded in their everyday life there. From limiting harmful chemicals that can damage delicate ecosystems to carefully managing tourism and human interaction with wildlife, their precautionary approach is something worth examining as we consider how best to protect our own natural assets here in the Cayman Islands. It serves as a reminder that sustainability is not simply a policy. It is a mindset and a commitment. Closer to home, we also commend the government's actions to address the persistent issue of littering. The increases in fines, combined with stronger enforcement measures, sends a clear message. Protecting our environment is a shared responsibility. and there are consequences for failing to do so. But legislation alone is not enough. Real progress comes from collaboration. We have seen inspiring examples of this across our community. Organizations as Plastic Free Cayman, the National Trust, Sustainable Cayman, CCMI, Rotary Clubs, schools, environmental groups, and countless nonprofit organizations have mobilized thousands of volunteers to participate in cleanup efforts, coral restoration initiatives, turtle conservation and protection programs, and public education campaigns. The Chamber itself is proud to have supported Earth Day's initiatives for more than 2 decades to date, working alongside our members and partners to remove litter, raise awareness, and foster a culture of environmental stewardship. These collective efforts are making a difference. They demonstrate what can be achieved when government, the private sector, and the civil society align around a common purpose, or as we've been saying most recently, we lean in. We must continue to build on this momentum. Looking ahead, there are additional areas where we encourage continued focus and action. At the top of these is the development and implementation of comprehensive species conservation plans. Protecting iconic and ecologically vital species such as the green, leatherback, and hawksbill turtles is essential, not only for maintaining biodiversity, but also for preserving the unique experiences that draw visitors to our shores. These species are integral to our marine ecosystem. Their protection is not optional, it is essential. We also encourage continued transparency and public engagement as policies are developed and implemented. Informed communities are empowered communities, and stakeholder input strengthens outcomes. As a chamber, we stand ready to support these efforts through advocacy, education, and partnership. Our role is to ensure that the voice of the business community is constructive, solutions-oriented, and aligned with the broader national interest. We cannot afford to see sustainability and economic growth as competing priorities. They must go hand in hand. The decisions we make today about conservation, development, education, infrastructure, and accountability will define the Cayman of our children and grandchildren will inherit tomorrow. Protecting Cayman is bigger than any one policy, one organization, or one person. It requires all of us. And if we get it right, we will preserve not only our environment, but the very essence of what makes these islands home. In closing, I would like to once again thank Minister Ebanks-Wilkes for her leadership and for joining us today. We also extend our appreciation to the government agencies, environmental officers, enforcement bodies, volunteers, and conservation groups that work diligently, often behind the scenes with passion and commitment to uphold our environmental laws and protect our natural resources. We look forward to continued collaboration and to seeing further progress in the months and years ahead. Thank you for your attention, and it is now my distinct honor to invite the Honorable Minister to address us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please help me congratulate Madam President on coming out of the gate strong. You had me at Luncheon. I think this is an excellent way to start your term, and I want to congratulate you on your appointment and also the Chamber on launching such an important initiative, the Environment and Sustainability Luncheon. Before I begin my remarks, please allow me a moment to offer apologies on behalf of two of my colleagues and friends, our Honorable Premier, who is currently traveling on official government business, and also Parliamentary Secretary Wayne Panton, who is currently Acting Minister So he is unable to be here today because he has other commitments in another ministry. It is encouraging to see such a strong cross-section of the private sector here today, because sustainability and resilience are no longer peripheral issues. They are now central to how we think about economic stability, investment, and long-term future plans for the Cayman Islands. Not long after becoming minister, my team shared with me the story of a family who would become anxious every time they opened their electricity bill. Like many households, they were trying to manage the rising costs during increasingly hot summers. After being selected for the Cayman Home Energy Efficiency Retrofit Program, changes were made to improve the energy efficiency of their home. And they went from dreading their monthly bill to feeling confident that they could pay it. That story stayed with me because it captures something truly important. When we talk about resilience, we're not speaking in abstract terms. We're talking about whether families can afford to cool their homes, whether businesses can operate with certainty, whether infrastructure can withstand pressure, whether our natural systems continue protecting us, and whether future generations inherit a Cayman that remains stable, livable, and economically strong. That is the lens through which I approach my portfolio as Minister of Health, Environment, and Sustainability. These are not separate issues sitting alongside of each other. They are deeply connected. The health of our people is tied to the condition of our environment. It is reflected in the air we breathe, the quality of our water, how we manage waste, how we produce energy, and how effectively our infrastructure functions under pressure. And resilience is not only environmental, it is economic, social, and fiscal. For small island states like ours, resilience is not a theoretical concept. It is practically necessary. We are managing growth within physical and ecological limits. We are exposed to global shocks we do not control, and we are making decisions that will determine how effectively Cayman responds to future pressure. That pressure is already visible, and I'm sure many of us see it. We see it in the cost of electricity during periods of global instability. We see it in infrastructure reaching capacity too quickly. We see it in our waste systems, which are now under strain. And we see it in the increasing financial costs of delayed decisions. The question for government is not whether pressure will come. It is whether our systems are resilient enough to absorb it. That is why this government is shifting from reactive management to long-term resilience planning. And that shift affects how we think about energy, waste, conservation, infrastructure, development, and also investment. One of the challenges governments often face is that resilience is discussed at the policy level, but not consistently embedded into day-to-day decision-making. If we're not measuring how projects, investments, and policies affect resiliency, then how are we going to truly manage risk? We're simply responding to consequences after they emerge. And that is why the Cayman Islands government is developing the Cayman Islands Resilience Index, referred to as Siri. I know many of you who have iPhones already have a friend named Siri, but this is a new Siri. Siri is being developed under the Climate Change Policy 2024 to 2050 as a practical decision-making framework. Its purpose is straightforward: to help us assess how investments and policies strengthen or weaken national resilience over time. It will support decisions across 6 areas: robust economy, livable built environment, healthy and resilient communities, resilient infrastructure networks, harmony with nature, and integration and coordination. Importantly, this is not intended to be a theoretical exercise or another framework document sitting on a shelf. It is about improving how decisions are made, using an online interactive platform accompanied by an investment guidance tool. These tools create a more consistent framework for assessing long-term benefits and costs, while considering risk mitigation, environmental impact, and system performance as interconnected factors rather than as separate issues. Because resilience is ultimately about reducing vulnerability before systems fail. And that matters for the private sector just as much as it matters for the government. Businesses understand resilience intuitively. It means supply chains that function reliably, energy costs that are manageable, infrastructure that performs as intended, regulatory systems that are predictable and fit for purpose, and communities that remain economically stable and healthy. That is why sustainability and resilience are increasingly becoming investment issues, competitiveness issues, and operational issues. The Georgetown landfill is one example of why this matters. The recent fire was not an isolated incident. It was a visible sign of a long-term system pressure created over many years of waste volumes, increased while infrastructure and diversion efforts did not keep up at pace. And the impacts extended beyond the landfill itself. Communities experienced air quality concerns, families experienced disruption, public health risks were increased, and of course, beyond the health and social factors, there are the economic. Government incurred operational and financial costs responding to the situation. And here is a little known fact. Our entire national collection of art was at risk because it was situated just across the highway at the National Gallery. That is what happens when systems are allowed to operate continuously at or beyond capacity, which is why our approach to waste management is now focused on resilience, not temporary fixes. We have defined a clear path forward across 4 work streams: exiting the region project responsibly, stabilizing landfill operations, reducing incoming waste, and developing the infrastructure required for the future. We are improving landfill operations now, advancing commercial recycling initiatives, progressing policy measures such as single-use plastics legislation, and we are developing infrastructure intended to reduce long-term environmental and operational risk. But this is not solely a government issue. What arrives at the landfill reflects decisions made throughout the economy in procurement, construction, packaging, hospitality, retail, and consumer behavior, which means resilience in waste management requires partnership. The same principle applies to energy. Over the past year, rising global fuel prices and forecasts of extreme summer heat created a significant concern for households across the Cayman Islands. Without intervention, residential fuel charges were projected to increase by more than 70% this summer. That is not simply an energy issue. It is a cost of living issue, a public health issue, and a resilience issue. Last week, the government announced a 3-phase plan to reduce energy costs and support families. The first phase provides immediate relief through temporary fuel duty waivers and a residential electricity fuel cost cap to assist the majority of households this summer. But equally important are the longer-term phases. The expanded Cayman Home Energy Efficiency Retrofit Program, which you will often hear referred to as the CHAIR program, will help eligible households reduce energy consumption through insulation improvements and more energy-efficient cooling systems. The CHAIR program has been run for several years, and we have good data on the root causes of higher energy consumption. I want to just acknowledge Parliamentary Secretary Wayne Panton, who started this project. And over the longer term, the transition towards greater solar generation will reduce Cayman's dependence on imported diesel and the exposure to global oil price shocks. That is resilience in practical terms. Reducing vulnerability, reducing long-term cost, and increasing stability for families and businesses alike. Because sustainability is not about asking people to sacrifice economic security, it should be about strengthening it. The same approach applies to conservation and development. Recently, government announced 6 new protected area designations under the National Conservation Protected Areas Order 2026. These areas include wetlands, mangroves, marine habitats, and forest systems across all 3 islands. Those ecosystems are not simply scenic assets. Mangroves reduce storm surge impacts. Wetlands support water management. Marine systems support tourism and fisheries. And biodiversity contributes directly to the long-term health and resilience of our islands. But environmental protection and economic development cannot be treated as opposing forces. If we continue operating through cycles of conflict, legal disputes, and uncertainty, then everyone loses. Government, developers, conservation interest, businesses, and of course the public. That is why our Premier has commissioned Cayman Forward. Cayman Forward is intended to be a structured, evidence-led policy dialogue designed to improve alignment between environmental and development legislation and reduce the cycle of disputes that too often results in delay, uncertainty, and litigation. Its purpose is practical: to create a more coordinated framework, to separate evidence from rhetoric, and to support decisions that are balanced, transparent, and durable over time. Importantly, this process will include stakeholder engagement, including input from the Chamber and the wider private sector. More information will be shared from the Premier's office in the coming weeks, because resilience also depends on confidence in government. Confidence that decisions are evidence-based, that systems function coherently, and confidence that Cayman can balance economic growth with environmental responsibility in a credible and sustainable way. And if we get this right, the outcome is straightforward. We will have infrastructure planned with capacity in mind, energy systems that are more affordable and less exposed to external shocks, waste systems that are more efficient and less reactive, natural systems that continue protecting and supporting our economy, and decision-making processes that create greater certainty for investment and development. That is what resilience looks like. Not a single project, not a policy, but a more stable Cayman Islands, designed to withstand pressure and adapt over time. And I know that we all know that Cayman is a resilient island. All we have to do is think back to Hurricane Ivan or more recently COVID. But none of this can be achieved by government alone. Many of the decisions shaping Cayman's future are made every day in boardrooms, construction sites, offices, restaurants, and homes. So my ask today is a practical one. Engage in the development of the Resilience Index. Participate in Cayman Forward when the consultation begins. Support the transition to commercial recycling and energy efficiency. And begin integrating resilience considerations into your own operational and investment decisions. Because resilience is ultimately cumulative. It is built decision by decision, investment by investment, project by project. And the choices we make now will determine whether Cayman continues responding to pressure after systems reach breaking points, or whether we build systems resilient by design. Thank you.
For being with us today. This definitely is our first sustainability and environmental luncheon. I'm sure it's the first of many more to come. And it's such an important topic that addresses our way of living, a sustainable economy, the way that we have a quality of life. So really appreciate having you here. I had some questions that might be the same questions that our attendees are thinking about, and really wanted to get more insights on that from you. The first question that I had was, what are the top policy priorities that your ministry is working on in the areas of the environment and sustainability?
Good question. The top policy priorities that the ministry is working on from the environment standpoint, the top priority is focusing on the long-term waste management solution. And then from sustainability and climate resiliency, we're focusing on the implementation of the climate change policy as well as the national energy policy.
Thank you. Following up on that one, what interim measures is your ministry considering to address recycling and waste management?
So when I first was re-elected as Minister for Environment, I was really happy that we were able to pair environmental health with environment. And we've begun dealing with the drafting of a national recycling policy, because there never really been a policy team that was focused on environmental health. So we're working on developing a national recycling policy, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I know many of us in the room know that there are a lot of practices that we need to change as living on an island. So the work that we are starting is the educational campaign on getting families more familiar with recycling. So it's sort of an opt-in at the moment, because we don't have the facilities available to mandate at this stage residential recycling. In addition to that, we're not ready. But what we are doing is we are working towards mandating commercial recycling, because a lot of the commercial facilities are already, they are more adaptable and ready to go. So we're working at the ministry level to finalize the mechanics that are going to be required to mandate the commercial recycling. I think pretty much every one of the hotels are already working in that area, and I see Mr. Brown is in the room, Jason Brown and his lovely wife, and I want to just acknowledge both of them, because they have been champions as well as it relates to recycling. I want to thank them, because I think he had a vision quite a while back on where Cayman needs to be in terms of recycling. So that is the approach that we are taking, the interim approach.
Thank you for that.
Sorry for the long answer.
No, it's definitely insightful, and it really puts things in perspective of why is this happening? Why is that not happening? Why has this not been implemented? There's reasons behind it. Following on that and just thinking about any further enforcement measures going to be implemented, does the ministry plan to introduce any further enforcement measures to protect our marine parks?
So yes, what we are doing right now, Chief Officer Tamara and I are at the stage right now where we are getting ready to go back along with all the other ministers and their chief officers to put a case forward to the government in terms of priority hires. One of the priority hires that we need for environment is additional conservation officers. So that is one of the focuses that we are taking as it relates to conservation. You heard earlier, we have been working at the ministry with rolling out protected areas order. Thank you, Emily. It's actually quite intimidating to me. Everyone is so quiet. But yeah, so we've been, focusing on areas that we can actually protect, and I'm really proud to have been able to get 6 areas already, protected area orders. We also have some species conservation orders that we're working on. So we are working hard, and the government is also looking to increase some additional spaces that we want to protect. Not just I know we've talked a lot about Kimmebrag and Little Cayman. For those who are really passionate about barkers, I will say that we're working hard to look at different areas that we can protect and certainly in barkers.
It's amazing, thank you. Keeping in mind that we are all here sitting and very interested in sustainability. I know it's so quiet. We're all very attentive on what we have to say on the topic. We're not in Leadership Cayman, so it's not about what we talk about here stays here, but we are the first, this is the first luncheon, and you're the first attendees of this. Can you give us an update on what the findings of the fishing survey, what were the findings of that fishing survey that was undertook last year? Can we get a first hearing on that?
Very high level, yes. What I can say is that we had a resounding response from the country. We had over 1,000 persons participating and providing feedback, and I get to brag that as far as I am aware, it's probably one of the pieces of, are the consultation processes that we've gotten such a high response from the public on. I mean, even important things like electoral boundaries didn't get the amount of response that we got for something as important as fishing. And I can say that the public is very supportive of putting this protection in place. And based on the feedback that we've received, we've gone back, I've taken a paper back through cabinet to enhance our drafting instructions to make it more equitable, so that it is fair for Caymanians and non-Caymanians, but certainly still allowing us to have protective measures in place.
Thank you. I think Will has a
question. Thank you very much. Obviously, it's very quiet in the audience, probably contemplating some of your questions. That's what this luncheon's about. We don't normally have the minister feeling very open about responding to questions in a public forum. So let's give her some questions. I'll start first, Minister. Let's just talk about that Siri proposal that you have going on. Tell us a little bit more about how you think that's going to work, the Siri initiative that you're working on.
I think that it is a very important tool. Actually, right before I arrived, I was sitting with the sustainability and the energy team and getting a briefing on where we're at with it, because we do have our consultants who are going to be visiting us just next week. It is a platform that will allow us to consider any project that the government and hopefully it'll spill over into private sector, but to ensure that it aligns with the priorities of the country, that we are basically future-proofing any decision that we're making. So if we take the long-term waste management solution as an example, what it will do is it would ensure this online platform that we be using to track our processes will allow us to ensure that we are not going back and looking to the past saying, you know, we missed something critical. So it's really just a tool to allow you to future-proof any decision that you're making, because you're thinking about, you know, climate change, you're thinking about, you know, the state of your economy, you know, the population. So it considers a lot of that, and it's still we're still working on it. It isn't in a final phase, but what I also appreciate about the project as it relates to government is it allows you to ensure that all government agencies, departments, ministries are aware of whatever I'm working on waste management solution. Once this tool goes live, then everyone can be able to see and monitor where we're at, what we're doing, and it is a tool that I think is going to be great for the country.
Anyway, if you have any questions in the audience, just put your hand up. Good.
Quick question regarding Cayman's non-decibel law. As far as I know, we don't have a law regarding decibel, and as all of us in this room can attest to, the island has gotten louder and louder and more dusty too over the last 5, 6, 8 years. The hydraulic brakes, the trees being removed, which means more sound traveling and more blowers. You can't even go to the beach anymore, the blowers are there as well. So can we please address the noise and have a decibel law?
I am pleased to announce that the draft environmental health bill that we're working on will have a provision in place so that we can have more control over sound. The word can't come right now. Noise pollution per se, but to ensure that we have a way to measure it and to enforce anyone who is not complying.
Any other questions? Your chance.
Good afternoon, Minister. Question on the East-West Arterial. Obviously, the route is going to be affecting the central mangrove wetlands, and we haven't heard anything on any sort of plans on mitigation. So obviously, if government is proposing to move forward with the road, what sort of things are government considering to mitigate the loss of not only the actual route through of mangrove protected species, but also the secondary effects that may affect the northern boundaries of the road?
If I said that was something that I had discussed since being in this post, I'd be lying. It is something that we need to talk about. We haven't yet started to talk about the East-West Arterial route or ways in which, what I can say to you is from the Ministry of Environment, we have the National Tree Planting Program that we've been working with. We've been talking a lot about looking at, well, of course, one of the focuses that we, from the ministry takes is we're looking at trying to replant a lot of native trees. And I know that that's probably something that we'll have to have discussions, and certainly would love to discuss it more in detail with Sustainable Cayman.
Any other questions? Just put your hand up.
Hi, Minister. I'm part of an organisation that really wants to put, for instance, solar on our commercial roof, but we are unable to do so and have been unable to do so for almost a decade now. I know it's in the National Energy Policy version 2, but do we have a time frame in which this commercial call will actually become a reality?
Are you referring to utility scale solar or anything under 5 megawatts?
Under 5 megawatts.
So what I can say about that is we're currently working through the Ministry of Environment along with Ministry of Planning. We've been having discussions with OFREG, and we're trying to finalize that bit so that it can be one of the first parts of the implementation plan to the NEP that we are able to proudly announce. So we are working on it. Sorry that it's taken a little while or quite a while, but we're almost there.
So I have several questions. Are you guys planning on updating the coastal setbacks? Increasing them?
So the Ministry of Planning just recently announced their initiative on the coastal setbacks, and that is something that we are going to be working on and addressing. And I had to give the minister kudos earlier when someone came as I arrived and congratulated me on the fact that we are looking at the coastal setbacks, and I had to say I have to give Minister J all credit. It's something that he has done with his team. So yes, we are.
So they are going to be expanded then?
Yes.
Okay. And then further protect, because as far as I'm aware, mangroves are only protected if they're on the coastline currently. Sorry, mangroves are only protected on the coastline currently, from my understanding. So increasing that in wetland protection across the island.
No, mangroves are protective species, so they're protected regardless of where they are. I'm trying to see who is asking the question so I can look. Okay, all right, so I want to be sure.
But there's been developments that have taken mangroves down though, so I'm not understanding that. I guess the enforce of that protection doesn't seem to exist.
So that has been an issue for decades, but it is something that recently, I can say that there has been enforcement, there has been, thank you. Thank you. I can see that Tim wanted to.
Thank you, Minister. Just a clarification here. So mangroves are protected through the Species Conservation Plan for them. There are Part 2 species on the National Conservation Act, which means they need a management plan. That conservation plan has been written, but it does not give them complete protection in the sense that planning authorities and other agencies can give approval for them to be removed. But just to remove them without consultation with the environment or with any of those agencies is against the law. So if they have to, how often is it not approved?
Because it's not the exception, it's the norm where it's granted. It's the same here. What's the point of the legislation if in reality it's not actually doing anything what it's supposed to do?
I think it's a considerable improvement. We will have statistics of how often it's ignored, but it's a definite improvement than the old situation where they weren't protected. But having to try to get those numbers for you. But I do have to concur with you and agree with you that, yeah, you know, a lot of the time the recommendations for mangroves are ignored or not taken into account as they're required to be.
Energy efficient building codes. It's not something that's going to come into legislation at some point in time because, you know, I rent, so I have no choice. There's no inflation. I one bedroom apartment, my bill in the summer is worth $300. There's not really anything I can do about that. So, the program where you can go in and make someone's home more efficient is great for homeowners, but many of us are not homeowners and we don't have any, there's nothing really to do there.
You're asking some really good questions, and what I can say to your last question is that the benefit that we got from the chair program through the ministry is great data, and I know that CUC can attest to that because it's data that has proven what energy efficiency will actually do to bring down cost of keeping your home cool and just powered. And having discussions with the Minister of Planning is one of the considerations that they're looking at as they're looking to amend their planning legislation, is making improving their building code to ensure that some of the AC requirements, and I don't want to overspeak because it's not in my area, but I can say that the minister is looking to improve the building code to ensure that there are items that are required to be energy efficient, such as ACs.
But insulation is probably going to be your
Insulation as well.
Energy efficiency, which means we're using
insulation as well.
Yeah, using less of the natural resources of oil and gas and diesel as well.
Can we go back to the fishing survey a bit? Maybe I'm not sure if Tim had more information. was there indication that people in the public were more pleased, maybe wanting us to ban fishing from shore, or maybe prevent certain fish from being taken from our waters to preserve our reefs? Is there anything that you can comment on? About the fishing survey? Was there any trends that you saw that you could share with us? Which, again, it irritates me personally as an editorial comment when I see people fishing from the shore, knowing they're taking our reef fish. And I just came back from the Galapagos Islands, and I went snorkeling, and I saw some turtle, shark, I saw everything that I could.
Will, stop rubbing it in. I know, this is what I have been working with.
I'm jealous of the Galapagos. Hi. So in general, trends-wise, I mean, there is a general perception that, you know, the fish stocks are declining in the Cayman Islands. Based on the survey results, it wasn't necessarily seen that one nationality or the other was responsible for that. It's kind of a collective issue. We all need to be responsible for how much we take, what we take, when we take, you know, so it's just kind of, that's...
Okay.
Well, before you go on, can I just introduce this young lady that just stood is Miss Emily Gilman. She works in the ministry. She's one of the senior policy advisors, and she has been leading the consultation along with Morgan Ebanks, who have gone around all 3 islands getting consultation feedback from the public. So I just wanted to let everyone know that's Emily.
Well, since we're having an open conversation about the environment and sustainability, I just, maybe some people don't know what our structure is for preserving our marine parks. So maybe we should know how many conservation officers we have. Do we have drones in the sky? How many boats do we have protecting our marine environment? Maybe the public would want to know that a little bit. So I'm not sure if somebody from their team...
I was just going to say, I'm so glad that the department is here today.
And you said that you need more funding for more conservation officers. Again, if we're taking our environment seriously, we're going to protect our assets. So I just want to understand how we're protecting them.
Thank you, Lynn. Hi, I'm Bradley Johnson, Deputy Director for Operations and Enforcement at DOE. Yes, we have a small team of enforcement officers, about 9 officers across all 3 islands. We have several boats. We are utilizing drones as well. We have a structured control policy that our officers follow, but obviously with the amount of staff, we look at the types of violations and any areas that we can target the most and have the most impact on. So we have a very structured approach to it, and our team is very dedicated. They work, you know, multiple hours around the clock when needed. So they're addressed as much as we can address under the limitation we have, but the Minister is very supportive of us, and we were, as she mentioned, we are looking forward to some increased protection that we can support.
And can you maybe address the whole idea of the turtles when they come up on nest, and whether there's any poaching going on, and what enforcement measures you have in place for that?
Yeah, we turtle nesting season is coming up now. We've had the first nest so far, 5 or 6 so far, and our officers and the team that works for our terrestrial, our marine research team that monitor the beaches every day. They identify the turtles that come up. Our enforcement team then coordinates to ensure that when we know when the turtles are coming back to the nest, and we target those beaches for additional patrols. We have several officers that work in the evenings specifically to monitor those high-risk beaches where we know poaching happens. It still does happen. And we've been very successful with some private partnerships as well for cameras and different aspects of technology to assist with that as well.
Any other questions? Okay, good. Get some questions.
Hi, good afternoon. I just wanted to ask about if there's going to be any kind of sustainable finance fund to help with that. That's my first question. And then my second question is on sargassum. It's a pollutant that washes up on the shores. reduces methane, tend to have source of carbon dioxide.
Can you remind me of the first question?
Sustainability fund.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yes, we are. So we're a bit stretched thin in the ministry. Our sustainability team is quite small, and we're working right now on Siri, getting that operational. But we are also looking to draft legislation in relation to climate finance. That's something that I think everyone is wanting to see up and running. And we've been talking a lot lately about BVI and the BVI Climate Fund, and certainly we have to figure out ways in which we can access funding here in Cayman, especially with us being an OT. A lot of the EU and UK financing isn't quite available to us, so being able to have different streams of revenue is something that's important for the government. And also it encourages, a lot of persons who are traveling. I know that there are even conferences that have chosen not to come to Cayman because they want to, talk about offsetting and carbon offsetting. So there's so many areas that we're looking at in the Ministry of Sustainability, but right now the competing priority is trying to get the resilience index up and running.
Last two questions. I recognize a lot of faces here, so you may know, but for those who don't know, I'm Courtney Platt. I have put together my own reef fish restoration program that I've been presenting as an educational program for any schools or big groups, Rotary Club, etc., Chamber of Commerce. You're all invited to call me up and invite me to come and present my presentation to you. But my question for you now is that I've heard that the proposal for a Caymanian-only fishing license has been changed into a fishing license for expats, which really confounds me, because in my opinion, and it has been my opinion for decades, that this belongs to Caymanians, and we should have the right to conserve it for Caymanian use only. And I know that the problem, I've heard anyway, the problem has been identifying who's Caymanian. We have apparently over 1,000 probable Caymanians who don't yet have that status officially somehow. And I know that may be a problem. However, it seems it could be worded in a way that says that only Caymanians are allowed to take from the reef. Forget about a fishing license. Just a regulation says only Caymanians are allowed to take from the reef. It would then be very easy to identify any expats. You may not be able to identify who's Caymanian, but you can definitely go to CBC and find out who is an expat. And it could be a digital record that the enforcement officers can bring up on situ or in situ to be able to identify this person is an expat. But anyway, I do believe somehow it can be worked out. I would really prefer to see that over the idea of a fishing license for expats, which doesn't really eliminate the problem, which is there's too many of us, right? It's like 30, I don't know what it is exactly today, but 35,000 Caymanians versus the rest making up 90,000 being expats. And so this could eliminate a huge amount of take from the reef. Part of my presentation that I'm giving now that helps with the problem, could help a great deal with this problem, is that I have a takeaway message to all of my listeners that if you can afford to eat anything else, please just choose to eat anything else. And this could go a long way. In the meantime, while we're still debating what the new regulations will be. But I'm not saying that our current regulations, marine parks, etc., are not doing their job. It's just that we could do more. And I believe that it's that desperate that we need to do more It's been a long time we've needed to do more. So I don't know if I got that question out exactly, but I think it's, can't we reconsider a Caymanian only fishing regulation, not a license, but a regulation that allows us to eliminate all the other take? Thank you.
I guess, Courtney, at this stage, all I can say to you is that you have a government that is a patriotic government that is wanting to ensure that we protect everything here for this generation and generations to come. It is still being worked through, but you also identified one of the nuances that has been flagged in having these discussions. It's not easy for an enforcement officer to pull up to someone and access the information as to how to identify it if an individual is on a database, because right now we don't really have a rollout on identification. The national identification isn't mandatory, so there's lots of discussions going on. It's still being worked through, it's not finalized, and certainly before it is finalized, we'll do what we always do. We'll come back out to the public with whatever the draft looks like. The consultation at this stage was just to ensure that the desire of the cabinet aligned with the desire of the public, which was, do you want this? And it was a resounding yes. And so now we are working with legislative drafting to see how we can pull that together, and then once it's been reviewed by AG's chambers and it's seen as constitutional, it will then go out to the public for wider public feedback. Certainly you will be consulted.
Minister, maybe the thing to do is, because my mind is fuzzy about who's allowed or not, could somebody just explain to us what is allowed in fishing in our waters? Can anyone just go and fish in our waters?
Yeah. So there are, anyone is allowed to fish. There are species restrictions and there are size limits and closed seasons and everything like that. So there's no general restriction on a nationality that can or can't fish, if that's a question. As long as people are obeying the correct zone. So I don't know if everyone has our app or the department app. It's quite informative, and it'll explain where you're allowed to fish. All of the different marine park zones have specific restrictions in place. There are specific line fishing zones where you can fish. In a marine reserves, you're not allowed to fish anywhere in the marine reserve. That includes from shore. There are size limits for the fish. You can't take anything under 8 inches unless it's a sprat or goggle eye or fry. There are size limits for Nassau grouper specifically, as well as closed season. So there's a whole list of regulations that you have to obey if you're going to fish, which includes restricted areas, but nothing specific for nationalities.
Thank you very much. I'll turn it over to President Spratt.
Thank you, Will. I was about to say that the conversation became very lively and interesting once the public started asking all the questions. But unfortunately, we've run out of time on this luncheon, so I really appreciate your time here today. Before I conclude today's interactions, because I have a captive audience, I wanted to take a moment and actually put on another hat that I wear, that's being the chairperson for the Digital Transformation Strategy Task Force. And if you have not heard, we have 3 surveys right now out there for the public. The 3 surveys that are happening out there for digital transformation for the country are the community survey that you can find in publicconsultations.gov.ky, but there's also a government survey for civil servants that you will find in your government intranet, so please fill that one out. And there is a 3rd survey out that's for the business community. The business survey, this is the link to it. You will not find this out there on the public consultation website. This was being distributed by associations and entities like the Chamber of Commerce, inviting the business community to fill them out. If you're thinking, I am part of the community, which we all are, so yes, please fill out that survey, but I'm also part of the business community, please also fill this one out. They're not the same survey, and each one is addressing specific sections of it. Digital transformation for the community, digital transformation within the business community, and digital transformation within government. So wearing that hat, I wanted to just close the remarks today saying, please, please, please take out your phones, get the survey, share it with your business colleagues, and take a moment to answer them. I promise you that it won't take you more than 10 minutes. With that being said, and taking off that hat and putting back on my Chamber of Commerce President hat, I wanted to take a moment and thank everybody for being here today. I hope that you have enjoyed our very first sustainability and environmental luncheon, and it will be, I guess, the first of many more to come aligned with our Earth Day initiatives. So thank you very much, all. Thank you, Minister, for coming.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.